Hi, I'm Pam and I'm here to talk about video games. I recently made a video recommending 10 Metroidvanias, and when I asked viewers to suggest some more for me, the one that came up the most was Blasphemous. So I played it, and here's what I thought. Blasphemous is a Metroidvania developed by the Game Kitchen and released in 2019 for Xbox One, PS4, Switch, and Windows. In the land of Custodia, a strange occurrence called the Miracle has happened, cursing some things and blessing others, and creating a whole lot of monsters. You play the Penitent One, a silent knight who is the only survivor of a massacre, who embarks on a pilgrimage to seek a sacred relic. From the game's introduction, and even dating back to its first announcement, the thing that makes Blasphemous stand out is its aesthetic. The setting is heavily based on Catholic iconology and also Andalusian art and culture. Enemies are twisted takes on nuns, seraphs, and flagellants. Executions during combat are gory, with dismemberments and tons of blood splatter. The pixel art is really great, from the animations of the Penitent One to the horrifyingly impressive bosses. Vistas seen as you make your way through the map have a real sense of depth and scale to them. It's always exciting to see what the next area will look like. I've never been a religious person, but I am a person who took Italian in university with the completely unrealistic goal of reading the Divine Comedy in its original language, and wrote essays in high school English about how Satan in Paradise Lost was on the hero's journey, so Blasphemous is a game that definitely appealed to me. While the atmosphere was immediately captivating, when it came to the gameplay, it did take a few hours for me to learn to appreciate it. Combat is very deliberate. It starts out rather simply, with just melee sword swings, a dodge to avoid attacks, and a parry which can leave enemies open to counterattack. When you swing your sword, you're locked into that animation, which can be relatively slow. You need to be careful about hitting that attack button, or else you might miss a chance to dodge. This is a fairly common kind of combat, seen in the Souls games and Witcher 3, and it's just not my preference. I did get used to it though, and as more abilities were introduced, combat actually became fairly enjoyable. By upgrading your sword, which is called Mea Culpa, you can get new abilities like plunge attacks when you jump down onto an enemy, different finishers, or a lunge attack that combines a dodge with a thrust. This one is a game changer and makes everything more engaging. Take it as soon as you can. Your sword can also have a heart equipped, which modifies it in some way. Most of them have both positive and negative effects, so you need to weigh the benefits of using one. There are also prayers, which are magical abilities that let you do some area of effect or range damage. Some prayers can also buff or protect the Penitent One. Only one can be equipped at a time, and they all use a resource called Fervor. At the game's launch, there was a lot of criticism about the platforming, which I can't speak to, but after 3 patches, I have no complaints. It may be a bit on the ponderous side, but overall it feels good. The Penitent One moves at a good speed, can use his sword to climb walls, and can use dodge to slide through low passages. The level design makes the most of the abilities you have. What makes Blasphemous great is the map. It is so well designed. Every area is fun to explore and full of secrets, collectibles, and characters to meet. I had such a good time combing through every area, making note of when there was an obstacle I couldn't surpass, and coming back later when I had the ability to do it. Every area has a different feel to it. Albero is the last bastion of safety, where the sick are treated and has the appearance of a medieval town. It houses a church where you can give tithes, upgrading both it and your own abilities in some way. Where the olive trees wither is a snowy, mountainous region where you'll do a lot of climbing and is also just a fantastic name for an area. Hondo is full of bells and clockwork machinery you need to make your way across, and the sleeping canvases house heretical artworks that you're not supposed to see. A stunning soundtrack accompanies your journey through all these places. It heavily features both acoustic and electric guitars and manages to evoke the game's macabre feel as well as its beauty. The in-game map represents each area well, is intuitive to use, and lets you mark areas of interest with a number of different icons. It was a great help for navigating and identifying areas I had not yet fully explored. As I played, I was constantly getting new items and upgrading my character in some way. The big abilities that give you access to more of the map are relics. Whereas most Metroidvanias give you a movement ability, like a double jump, relics work a little differently. They change the way the world reacts to you. So rather than jumping higher, you can now see blood platforms that let you get to previously out-of-reach areas. Other relics will allow you to withstand poison that previously blocked you, or negate the effect of mud and water which previously slowed you down and prevented you from jumping. There are also rosary beads, the most abundant kind of item, which give bonuses like extra defense or attack power, resistance to certain elements, or fervor regeneration. You can equip a limited amount of these, and increase the number you can equip by finding key items for an in-game character. One of these also holds the key to getting the game's best ending, so be sure to read the lore associated with each item. There are also characters to find. All have great and disturbing designs, good voice acting, and something cryptic to tell you. Given the game's rather dour atmosphere, it's nice to come across characters who aren't trying to kill you. Some of them even offer quests, but it never feels like the characters or dialogue are weighing down the pace of the gameplay. There's a bit of puzzle solving to do as well. The environment or item lore will give you clues about how to solve these puzzles which are not entirely obvious. Blasphemous has a lot to keep you busy and traveling between areas. I was constantly rewarded with new things and little upgrades, so I wanted to explore as much as possible. Everything is interconnected in a great way, and it feels so good to open up shortcuts. Backtracking is made less arduous by the availability of fast traveling between save points, which was much appreciated. I've heard many people say that Blasphemous is a difficult and punishing game, and I agree to an extent. Difficulty is rather subjective since it's based on player skill, experience, and even preference, but I didn't find the combat or bosses all that challenging. What was very punishing though was the presence of instant kill spike pits and having to retrieve your body when you die. First, the combat. Bosses are all wonderfully designed and have very different attack patterns. Most of them just require you to hit and dodge and use whatever prayer seems best for the situation. It took me a bit to defeat the first real boss as I got used to the combat, but I killed most of the others in only 1 or 2 attempts. The presence of bile flasks to restore your health makes things much easier. Some bosses change things up by requiring a fair amount of platforming during the fight, and a late boss forces you to get good at parrying, which is something I almost never used otherwise. The regular enemies that inhabit each area are incredibly varied and require different plans of attack. Some need to be attacked from behind or approached with caution as they'll throw projectiles at you. Some can only be attacked while you're in the air, or only let you get a hit or two in before they counter. I always had to put some thought into the combat and never got into a rut of just hacking and slashing my way through everything. But then there are the spike pits. I've hated these since the original Prince of Persia. A few areas in the game are just littered with spike pits that kill you instantly, and these are often combined with enemies or swinging blades that will knock you back into them if you get hit. I really don't see the need for instant death mechanics in a Metroidvania where you respawn from a save point. And it's made worse by the way you need to go and retrieve your body after a death. Otherwise, your fervor bar and accumulation of Tears of Atonement, which works as your currency, will be limited. If games could stop borrowing this particular Souls mechanic, I would be thrilled. There were a few spots where I ended up dying in the same spot while trying to collect my body multiple times, which was immensely frustrating. On the bright side, there are confessor statues throughout the map where you can pay to restore your character without returning to your body. Though it took me a couple hours to warm up to it, I ended up loving Blasphemous. It is an absolutely gorgeous game with a great map and a constant stream of abilities, items, and upgrades to obtain. Though I could do without the spike pits, the combat and platforming are satisfying and the lore is intriguing. Once I started, I really couldn't put it down, and I finished the game within a few days of starting it, after having put in 20 hours and gotten 97% completion. Blasphemous is definitely a Metroidvania you should play. If you want to see more, check out my review of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, or another of my videos. I have a Patreon if you want to support my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.